Hello, and welcome to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission. I'm your host, Tina Lapp, Head of Industry Relations and Career Excellence for Colibri Real Estate. I've been in real estate education for over 30 years, helping individuals enter and thrive in their real estate careers.
Welcome to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission, where we dive into real stories, big wins, and early lessons learned from highly successful rookie real estate agents and brokers. This is the series where we explore how real estate transforms lives, one home at a time, by sitting down each week with a new agent or broker who has found incredible success in their first year. Your hosts are instructors and leaders at Colibri Real Estate School, one of the largest real estate educators in the nation, where we focus on helping people like you get started or find continued success in their careers.
From a teacher of the classics in London to award-winning real estate rookie, Victoria Mackay took the New York real estate industry by storm. Stick around to hear her story and her advice for aspiring real estate professionals. Hello, we are here today with Victoria Mackay. Victoria, thank you so much for being with us today. Will you take a moment to introduce yourself, where you currently live, and what company you're with?
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for having me, Tina. So I am in New York City and I'm with Brown Harris Stevens.
Wonderful. And I'm excited to dive into your story. Let's kind of start at the beginning. What were you doing before you became a real estate agent?
So I was teaching classics at a girls' school in London. So teaching Latin and ancient Greek to teenage girls who are aged 11 to 18, which I'm very passionate about. And I was also involved in the teaching and learning side of the school. So involved in supporting teachers and students have the best experience possible in the classroom.
That is beautiful. Love it. So I gotta ask, what in the world brought you to New York and then into real estate? Sort of walk us through that journey.
Yeah, it is a journey. And I think that is the way I would describe it, rather than like a single epiphany moment. Okay. The love for New York has always been there. And my mum is from here. I've got family here, and there was just something about this city as a little girl that just like really captured my heart, and just I still love New York. And I wasn't brave enough, I think, post-college to make the jump, and it just seemed really daunting at the time to come over here, not really knowing that many people apart from my family. So I ended up teaching, which I loved, but the years kind of kept rolling on by, and this dream to New York kind of had been on the back burner. And it was in a coaching conversation at school where I was training to become a coach, and you have to be coached yourself about something to train to be a coach. And so I said to my colleague, well, we can either discuss the move to New York or the half marathon that I keep putting off and have never run. And she was like, oh, let's talk about New York. That's way more fun. So that was September 2022. And as a result of that conversation, I think I just realized that this was really important to me, and I did really want to come and live here at some point. And the journey into real estate is a bit of a story of failure, to be honest, because I couldn't find a job teaching classics here. It's really rare and a very unique subject. And around the same time, I think I realized was personally feeling a bit stuck in teaching. And although I love my subject and I loved my students and I really enjoyed the classroom, the monotony of the school day, and I couldn't see where it was going. I couldn't picture, what I would be doing in 10 years' time in teaching. And I am a very ambitious person, and I think that hadn't been released. And it was a conversation with my dad. Sorry, I'm just talking away. But it was a conversation with my dad where he said on a really long drive, and I was like, I really want to move to New York. I don't know what to do. And he suggested real estate. And I laughed it off because to me, my perception of real estate was based on the TV shows. And being completely honest, I thought there wasn't much to it. And it was maybe a bit brainless, which is totally wrong and incorrect. But that was my perception. But then he was quite adamant that it would fit my skill set and my personality.
Yeah.
And the more I looked into it, the more, I don't know, my heart was just kind of captured by this idea of actually, this is people, property, and strategy. These are three things that I care deeply about, applied in one job. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so it was a gradual process over that year. And there were various steps and transitions. But then I saw the rest of the school year out. So July 2023, I then moved to New York and made the leap into real estate.
Wow. That's and like you said, your perception and reality different. We're going to dive into that and sort of how that unfolded. So you came to New York. How'd you get your license? Like what'd you do when you got here?
Yeah. So I started the classes. So I did the classes online from March 2023. I remember having this distinctive moment of like, okay, I don't think it's teaching. Let's see what else is like. Let's just do it and start these classes. So I did that alongside being in the classroom myself and teaching.
Okay.
And then when I got here in July, I took the exam, having done all the classes, and then could meet the team that I'm now on in person, who I'd already interviewed with on Zoom, and also interview elsewhere at other brokerages and stuff as well to explore options. But July was very much my month here of like getting everything that had been building up like in action and sorted.
Yeah. So that's amazing. You were able to take classes while you were in another country. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in London.
Yeah. So you were taking classes, you were still teaching. Were you taking classes at night? Like, how'd you juggle it all?
Yeah, it's funny. It's one of those things I didn't think about it at the time. I was just like, well, I want to do this. So
Yeah.
I think if you want to do something, you make time for it, don't you?
Yes.
But I was also very clear. I had exam students, and I wanted to see them through. So I really wanted to give my all to them, but also wanted to make sure I was pursuing my dream. So, I mean, I stopped doing so much in terms of my own life, and really I would do it after school and weekends. But I really enjoyed them. Like, I love learning. So it was fascinating to me because real estate in New York is so different from London. So there was just so much to learn and a whole new landscape. So I actually really enjoyed the classes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you said you found your broker by interviewing online. How'd you connect with brokers? Like, how'd you figure out who to talk to?
Yeah, this was honestly one of those moments of like, I actually told my teammates the other day about like my experience from discovering the job posting, because I don't think I'd ever told them. But I remember distinctly coming back one day and I'd had a really long day at work and I was scrolling on Indeed, which anyway, it is what it is, looking at kind of real estate opportunities, and this job opening or position, it's not really a job, this position opening came up on my phone. And there was it just stood out to me as like the team was so focused on clients. They seemed to be really caring about building these long-lasting relationships and not viewing real estate as a transaction. And there was just something about it that really spoke to me as, okay, these are like authentic people that would like be great to work with. And I just got really excited the more that I looked at the team page and read about the different members of the team. And so I sent off an application in April, knowing that I wasn't able to be there until basically September. But I was just like, well, it's worth it. And so I had 2 online interviews with like the head of our team operations and then the team lead, at which point I think it was very clear, okay, this isn't going to work now because I'm literally in another country and you need someone next week. But then when I was here in New York, I could revisit the conversation, and it definitely, it was the perfect fit. And I have no idea how people start in real estate without having a mentor and someone to learn from, because it's one thing doing the classes, but that's so different from when you're actually doing a deal. And I am so grateful to my team lead and to my colleagues for just their support and their wisdom and their insight. And I just wouldn't have been able to do it without them. So
Yeah, that's wonderful that you found the right team. I love that. So when you got to New York and you got your license, like here you are. What were your expectations going into your first year? What were you thinking it would look like?
Um, I think I honestly didn't really know. And I'm grateful that I did take so long to look into it, because I think one of the
Yeah.
things, and I always say this to people that are considering real estate, is how important it is to like assume you're not going to earn anything. Because I think people see real estate as like immediate glitz, glam. You're doing these multi-million dollar listings. It's like really exciting. And the reality is it takes a really long time to A, build your pipeline, B, build connections, like C, even have deals. Like it just
Yeah.
takes a while. And so I'm really grateful for the advice. I remember one broker saying to me, forget 1 year, it actually takes 2 years. Like you need to really assume you're going to earn very little. And as a result of that, I came in with a financial foundation of like, okay, I am secure in this, I can take this risk. But I
Yeah.
think if you don't have that, the danger is you aren't really viewing your clients as clients. You're thinking, okay, I need to get paid and I need a commission check. And that's detrimental for your clients, but also
Yeah.
for you and your business. So that was the first thing. And I think, didn't have many expectations, which I think
Yeah.
is the right way to look at it, because the job changes and every day is different. And I think I love it because of that, but you can't really have a picture of what it's like until you're in it.
Yes, exactly. And so you prove that wrong. That might be the stereotype. It takes a couple of years. You had a phenomenal first year. Tell us a little bit about, and we'll dive into some of the specifics, but how did you perform your first year? Like what did it look like at the end of the first year?
Yeah. It was one of those things I think even now I'm still like, I don't really view it as having been that successful. I'm like, oh, it just happened. Like, um, yeah, I think I was very fortunate in the clients that I met that they were ready to transact. And I have now had a lot more clients. Okay, it's actually a few years down the line and you do
Mhm.
have to um, build it up. Um, but yeah, I think my big thing is where I had my big success was first time buyers. And I think my skills as a teacher and actually the fact I'd had to learn this all myself meant I
Mhm.
was in a better place to advise and to help other people.
Yeah.
Um, and I fundamentally think not focusing so much on you and how am I performing? Am I saying the right thing? But really trying to see and hear your clients, figure out what they're looking for, what's going to make them
Yeah.
feel at home in a place. And for your sellers, what do they want? That everyone's got a different attachment to their property and trying to figure that out. Um, and I think that's been really helpful. So maybe more the like soft skills that I gained from teaching.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think you do need to be assertive and know when to stand your ground and when to stand up for your clients. But I think people underestimate the power of empathy and
Yeah.
of just like actually seeing and hearing your clients.
Yes, for sure. So you were new to New York, you're new to real estate. How'd you establish credibility?
Yeah, that was huge for me, and a big question when I was looking around at different brokerages. I think for me, that meant joining a team was an absolute necessity in terms of being able to learn and exposure to different deals and just maximizing on opportunity. Also, having leads, having opportunities for open houses where I can meet and connect with potential buyers and clients.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that was like the structure. I think at the same time, it is important to build your own brand. And that's the thing that gets spoken about a lot in real estate is,
Mhm.
what's your USP? What's your elevator pitch? And I think for me at first, I really shied away from the fact I was new to New York and the fact I had been a teacher because it just didn't feel impressive or justifiable for
Yeah.
why I'm now doing real estate. And now I like totally embrace it. And I think it is what makes me a better agent.
Yes.
But I think it takes a while to kind of own that story and who you are and how you're showing up for your clients. But yeah, I think those two things in tandem, like having the structure of the team and the support and the network while also
Yeah.
building my own brand and network
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. And so when you got started with the company you're with and joined the team and you're surrounded by all these awesome people, did they provide training for you or um, mentorship?
Yeah, so I'm on a small team, which again was one of the reasons and the draws to the team I'm on. It's just my team lead, another broker like me who's kind of showing full time, and then in operations, then we have someone who's kind of semi-retired, so not really in the office day to day.
Okay.
Um, And I think the biggest things were my team lead was really hands on in terms of calling me, making sure I had what I needed. Um, but what also wasn't like monitoring me. So allowed me to kind of go out there and do my own thing
Yeah.
and did really trust me in that. And then the head of operations was phenomenal. And basically, I think structure is so important in real estate. And you
Yeah.
go from having a job where you've got a 9 to 5 to zero structure. And she was very helpful at, making sure my CRM was started and I was feeding people into the newsletter and the practical side of things rather
Yeah.
than just kind of going out and seeing how you go.
Yeah.
And again, my teammate Cliff, there's 4 of us, he had been a few years ahead of me in the process. So learning from him and seeing what he had done well really helped as well, provide that model for, okay, this is what I've got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so important, and I know our listeners are aspiring real estate professionals and or individuals recently licensed looking how to get started. So, like hearing tips from someone who had a successful first year, just tremendous. So appreciate you sharing some of that. How long after you got licensed did you close your first transaction? Do you remember?
Yes, I do, because it was a long wait.
Yeah.
um, so I got licensed in the summer. I didn't officially start until September.
Yep.
So right after Labor Day to prepare for the full market. And I had my first contract signed in October, which was incredibly fast,
Incredibly
but
fast.
we didn't close until February.
Oh,
So it was a really long process. And I think that for me was so helpful in seeing how important patience is as an
yeah.
agent. And it really is like an endurance sport. It's not a quick deal. Um, that still is the longest amount of time I've gone from having a contract signed to a closing. But it was
Good to know.
very, very helpful to have that as my first deal because it just was eye opening of how long this takes.
Yeah. And do you remember, like, how you found that client? Anything about that story that you wanna share?
Yeah, it was a lead. So it was a lead from an app, and which, well, yeah, everyone I think does use leads now. I think we
Sure.
need to be aware of that, and it is a good source. I think it shouldn't be your only source as an agent, but it is
Yeah.
important, especially at the beginning. Um, and I met him and the family, and they wanted the apartment and they wanted to go for it. So I supported them as a buyer's agent. I took them around the neighborhood to make sure that they'd made the best decision for them. But they were very quick to move and to make a decision.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about how you marketed yourself? Like, did you use traditional methods? Like, what was particularly useful to you?
Yeah, this is a big thing for me. Even like it's one of my goals for 2026. um, I think I haven't done a good enough job at marketing myself, and I think it's something that I'm aware I need to grow in and to really own. I think it's quite scary to put yourself out there, or at least it's not in my nature. The British Reserve really kicks in. So I think the main thing for me has honestly been just caring about the client and really being intentional with everyone I met of like, okay, could this go somewhere? And seeing every potential opportunity as well.
Yeah.
And following up with people. I think don't, just keep sending listings, keep following up, use open houses, and trying to maximize the exposure, but also being intentional and targeted, and not just sending listings for the sake of it, really thinking about, okay, what does this client looking for? Or yeah, how can I help them? Yeah, but I think I wasn't overly salesy, and that's not my personality either. So I do
Yeah.
struggle with that side.
Yeah.
But it is really important to market yourself. And that's something I'm aware is, is a
Yeah.
goal and a target. So yeah.
Well, you had a very successful first year despite that. So obviously, the caring about people and the empathy and the follow through, it works in real estate, clearly. Um, so when you had a brand new client and you had a closing, what do you do to continue the relationship, or do you continue the relationship with them?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think that's one thing it's almost like it's back to being a teacher, you take them through the school and you take them through the process of buying or process of selling, and it's like, bye, farewell. But I keep in touch with all my clients. I think to varying degrees, obviously,
Yeah,
some
sure.
you don't have as close a relationship with, or they see it more as a professional relationship. But I really love the updates. I've heard from one client who was out in Asia in December. I went to a museum with one of my clients who's retired the other week. Like, I really love the relationships I've built through real estate, and I view them as, yeah,
Yeah,
fundamental to my enjoyment in doing my job. And it's always been about the person for me and about how I can help them. And it's an incredibly
yeah.
like intimate process buying or selling a home. And I
Yes,
think you really need to trust the person that you're working with. And
right.
therefore, I think if you don't have that relationship continuing in some capacity, it feels a bit strange. So
Yeah,
yeah, I've loved keeping up with clients. And I think that probably is also something really helpful in terms of, you don't think of it directly as marketing, because for me, it is about the person and about the
yeah,
relationship, but it obviously does help.
yeah. You've mentioned open houses a couple of times. Have those been beneficial for you? How has that helped your business grow, or has it not been that helpful?
Yeah. I mean, I think I obviously wasn't an agent in COVID, but post COVID, there was a move to open house by appointment, and we still do that in New York. And I've
Uh,
had a couple of listings where we've just done pure open houses just because it's really unique and it would be easy. But
yeah,
buildings prefer it, doormen prefer it because you don't just have random people showing up to the building.
yeah,
And I think it does work better to have the open house by appointment because you can then schedule it. You can have people coming one after the other rather than all at once. You can really make sure each person is having their time to see the apartment. We also try
yeah,
and stack it so people are seeing others come and go. So it kind of creates that competitive edge if possible.
sure.
So yeah, I think open house by appointment are fundamentally brilliant, and like we post them every single day for our listings, to maximize exposure and to just make sure people see that they're available. But I think the days of like pure open house Sundays are probably behind us. um yeah, and
Yeah,
I think otherwise, if you're just sitting there waiting, it's a waste of your time. It's probably not the best way for someone to see an apartment. And making an appointment. I mean, working on a buy side, I think a lot of my clients now will only go and see something if they're really serious. Yes, sometimes they want to go and get educated and want to see as much as possible. But on the whole, particularly if they're living in New York already,
yeah.
they know what they're looking for. They're happy to look online, and they will only venture out if it's like really, really important. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very unique to New York and probably big cities where you have those apartments and have to get in and out versus when you're in more rural areas. I live in Columbus, Ohio. And so, there, I think they
It won't be
aren't by
possible.
appointment. Yeah. But that, yeah, super interesting. I appreciate your thoughts on that. So, reflecting on your first year, what do you think was your biggest challenge?
Mm. Um, I think some of the deals I had were really quite hard. And there are two deals that probably immediately come to mind. they were both on the buy side. The first one should have been incredibly straightforward. It was an all cash deal, but they were looking in Park Slope in Brooklyn, which is incredibly competitive. And the first apartment where they wanted to make an offer, we lost out in a bidding war. And we did everything right. We strategized price. We were actually the highest price. They wrote a letter. We ticked and covered all the boxes. And it was a personal reason why the sellers chose. Anyway, I can't disclose it, but it was totally justifiable. But it was still really hard because picking up a first-time buyer, particularly after the emotional investment of, we think we found our perfect first home together, and not winning it is quite hard. So that was the first step. And then when we did find the right place, which actually is the perfect home for them, and it kind of transitioned in terms of what they were looking for, which I love how that always happens. People change what they're looking for as they go along. And it again should have been very straightforward. They were renting. It was very easy, clean, but there were quite a few hiccups. We had landmarked windows that were broken, and we only discovered at the walkthrough. We had the sellers delay the process because they were in London and they couldn't get an appointment at the embassy. And because of my experience being in London with the embassy, I knew that was a nightmare. They were also the sellers were going through a personal issue. My clients had an end to their rental lease, but they didn't have anywhere to move. So they had to move their stuff into storage. Then we negotiated it so they can move their stuff into the apartment. There were just so many different things happening. It felt like each week there was something else. So that was the first one. I think that was so emotionally tiring because it was a first-time buyer where this felt like their all and what they really, really wanted. And I also loved working with them and got to know them really well. So I really wanted it for them. And then the second deal that was tricky was, again, in Brooklyn, and a bit of a story of my client walking away from an initial offer. A very long search process, lasted months and months and months. Indecision about where's best, and I think having to coach them through the decision and really let them take ownership of the decision, and then eventually finding somewhere. But then at the closing, there were no keys, and the apartment just didn't have keys, and the seller hadn't moved out. And it was chaos. So I left the closing table. I went to the apartment. I made sure everything left the apartment. We didn't close until the apartment was empty. I made them go get keys from. So that was one where I just was like, by the end of the day, I was like, I can't believe that all happened. Like, how did we have a closing where the seller hadn't moved out and we didn't have keys?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. They were definitely the most stressful ones, but every deal has something. And I think you just learn to cope with that and to problem solve along the way.
Yeah, you can't make this stuff up, right? Like the things that happen, it's just incredible. And every transaction has its challenges. Unfortunately, maybe there's a few that go through seamlessly. Did you have a support system that helped you navigate some of that? Like, I know I talk to folks all the time looking into real estate and they're like, I'm just so nervous. What if I don't know? Who can I go to? What did you do? Who'd you lean on?
Yeah. So in those situations, I did call my team lead. And then sometimes he actually even spoke to the managers at the office too, with a few of the deals when they were extra tricky or needed other opinions. And I think that's a big thing as well of not being afraid to ask for help, which is something I, as someone that is very self-sufficient and likes to do things myself, have to learn and continually remind myself that it's a good thing to ask for help and to ask for other opinion. Particularly, I think if you're working with someone very closely, you are emotionally invested. So you need to take a step back and ask someone else for their opinion and their advice to make sure you're making the best decision and you're not just emotionally involved as well. So again, I think it's so important I'm a huge advocate for joining a team or at least finding a mentor who is going to support you and really be that sounding board for you and the place where you can come to for advice and have your questions answered, because I think you cannot do this on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like you found a great team and now you've got that support system. which everyone wants. That's beautiful. So I'm super happy for you. Tell me about your schedule. Like, are you working around the clock? Do you have some flexibility? Do you save some time for yourself ever? Tell us about that. How do you plan that out?
Yeah, I have changed as I've gone through. And obviously, I think seasons change. You know, the spring
Sure.
is more busy. And so
Hmm.
come March through June, it can be typical that I'm working Saturday and Sunday. Um, I always try to only work those hours. So only work the hours I'm showing on Saturdays and Sundays to make sure the rest of the weekend does actually feel like a weekend. Um, but again, if I've had a really busy weekend, I'll try and take some time midweek. So whether that be an afternoon or a morning, I'm getting better at putting my phone on do not disturb for a couple of hours and just taking that time out for myself.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, my schedule completely varies day to day. And it's one of the reasons why I love real estate. I think you do need to be someone that is a bit of a planner while also being flexible to have those plans fall through. Your
Yes.
day can change so quickly. So you can't be so measured on this is what's going to happen now. Um, yeah, but it really, really varies. I think today I've got a couple of showings after this. Then I've got a walkthrough, and then I've got a friend's photography exhibit. So it's just different. Every day is different.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
It sounds like you like that.
I love that. I thrive
Yes.
off that. So I think if you're someone
Yes.
that needs structure, and I do need structure, but I like that I can bring my own. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. You sort of customize it, right?
yeah,
It's all
exactly.
about you. Yeah. So, what's next for you? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Will you still be in real estate, you think?
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Yeah, I absolutely love real estate, and I love real estate in New York as well. I think this is such a cool city to be helping people buy and sell in. Um, so hopefully still here. And that would make me very, very happy. I think as time's gone
Love
on, I've
it.
realized you do need to have like a bit of a niche in what you're focusing on.
Yeah.
So that's developed more of like, okay, this is I first time buyers has been a big thing, but I've actually loved doing sales side of like historical or real estate with a bit of a story and a bit of soul really is how I describe it. And that's something that I'd like to focus on more in the future, as well as international. So much of New York is international, and so many of the
Yes.
buyers are international. And I think that's a real uh, need in the city as well, because it's such a different landscape here to
Yeah.
anywhere else in the world.
Yes, for sure. I love New York as well. I'm from New York, so one of my
Ah,
favorite cities, my favorite city, hands
that's
down.
so fun.
Do you have any tips or tricks for aspiring real estate agents?
Oh, I don't know. I think what I would just say is like, eh, take a deep breath and enjoy the process and have faith along the
Yeah,
way that it will all work out. Like, I think a lot of
yeah,
my time was spent planning the next thing or looking forward. And you do need to do that as a real estate agent. You do need to always be looking forward to the next quarter and where's your business going to go. But I think if you do that too much, you don't enjoy the moment and the present. So
yeah,
I think it's a mix of, yeah, going for it and really being strategic and planning as much as you can, but also being present and showing up for your clients in the best way. Um, yeah. I don't know whether that's
yeah.
really a tip or a trick. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's perfect, and really just good advice for aspiring real estate professionals, or quite frankly, in life in general. Like
It's
good
true.
advice for sure. Yeah. Um, So we're going to jump into our lightning round. Just some fun, quick questions. Doesn't have to be real estate related. Can be 60 seconds or less. Just your quick thoughts. So the first one: is there a book or a podcast that you've listened to that you would recommend to the audience?
A book would be The Power of Personal. Um, Not necessarily revolutionary, but great at like just having those personal interactions with people. And then I
Yeah.
love Vince Rocco's. I don't know whether I said his last name right. His podcast on selling New York real estate. It's great. So I think finding
Okay.
the niche that you love to listen to is really important.
Yeah. Yeah. Great advice. So, if we had a time machine and you could go back to the day you started this journey, what might you do differently?
Hmm. Oh gosh, that's so hard.
Or
Um,
maybe even what advice would you give yourself?
I think maybe slow down and take a deep breath.
Yeah,
It's going to be okay. I think
yeah,
that's something I'm always having to tell myself is like, you don't necessarily need to reply to that immediately. Like, just wait. You can think about it, be measured
yeah,
before just jumping right in. Um,
yeah.
yeah, real estate can feel so fast, but actually there is something in just slowing down yourself to make sure you're taking the best and most measured approach.
Yes. Oh, I like that a lot. If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Can I choose two?
You
Um,
can. Absolutely, you can.
Dead would be Ovid, who is a Roman poet, and um, he's just my favorite. He's hilarious, and he's really, really clever in his writing at taking in a political agenda while also being a bit cheeky. And I loved him, and I think he's brilliant.
Okay.
And alive would be it would be Kate Middleton, or like I just think she's so cool and is really iconic for the British family and the royal family, British people,
Yeah.
and royal family. So yeah, that would be my life.
Oh my gosh, those are great choices
I don't
and
think together they'd
super
work well.
unique.
So would we?
You can get a couple of dinners out of this. um, Tell us about your day at work yesterday.
um, my day at work yesterday. It was Wednesday, wasn't it? So I had a morning where we always look at the new listings in the morning. I do with deal with the deals that are right there. So I checked in with one deal that should be signed this week, checked in with the deal that should be closed in a couple of weeks, and then I followed up on emails for a little bit. Then I had a walkthrough, and that had a couple of issues at it, so I had to relay them. And then in the afternoon, I had some time out for myself around lunchtime because it was a bit of a busy day. So I had a second to myself. And then in the afternoon, I had a showing uptown, so I had to go uptown for it. And then came back and did a couple of emails again. So a mixture of showing, emails, trying to schedule clients in for next week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great day in real estate where you've got a lot to do, right? A lot in
Yeah,
the
and not every day
pipeline.
is like that either. I think there are some days where it is
Okay.
more you're in the office, you're just following up with people, you're searching,
Yeah. Yeah.
but being out and about tends to be the theme.
Yes. Yes. Well, you're never stationary, right? You're not in
Yeah.
one place for long. So, Victoria, where can viewers connect with you and follow your journey?
I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm not very good at posting. I will try and be better this
It's
year.
right. You talked about that, right?
It's important. Email is honestly, I will reply to an email quite quickly. So, um, but
Perfect.
yeah, you can,
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Okay. That's wonderful. Any final words of advice for individuals thinking about starting a career in real estate?
No, I think honestly, actually, maybe yes. One, be a
Okay.
sponge. That was said to me. I can't remember who said it to
Yes.
me, but very early on, someone said, "Just be a sponge," and that has been so helpful in like when deals have gone wrong or like it's been stressful or something's happened. Of just being
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm being a sponge, and I think there's always something to learn, regardless of how long you've been doing real estate, and
Yeah.
learning from those experiences to make yourself a better broker and agent is the most important thing.
Yeah. That's great advice. You have been absolutely lovely. Great tips and tricks, and just appreciate you taking the time to share your journey. I know there are several others out there that are looking for like what can they do, and the fact that you shared your story can be super helpful and inspiring. So congratulations on your success. I know you'll be in the industry for more than 5 years, right? And thanks for your time today.
Thanks so much for having me, Tina. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to Unlocking Real Estate My First Commission. We hope today's stories and insights inspired you to take that next step in your real estate journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, or head over to our channel to see some of the other content we've produced. We'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway or a question for our next guest. If you have a recommendation for someone we should interview, please send a note to unlockingrealestate@colibrirealestate.com.